Hey guys, Virgin Vinyl with you again today. Yesterday on the weekend, I went to, the weekend here over the rest of the world. Obviously, Sunday is still the weekend, but here in Israel, Friday, Saturday is the weekend. Sunday is back to work, first day of the week. It's called Yom Rishon over here, which translates to first day. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I went to a record fair in Tel Aviv, and it was pretty cool. Nothing too huge. The day before, I didn't know that this fair was on. I'd heard about it like a while ago, but I didn't realize it was this weekend. So the day before, I went into Tel Aviv to the Black Hole, and I showed you some stuff that I picked up from there, and also from the Third Ear. So I didn't have a lot of money to spend, and I really, shouldn't have spent any money, but I was there and I saw a couple of things. I would have liked to have bought a whole bunch of stuff that I saw there. There was one thing that like kind of broke my heart a little bit, because there was like an original Mahavishnu Orchestra Visions of the Emerald Beyond there, the gatefold version, and I almost bought it, but it was just too beat up. It was too beat up, and I just couldn't justify the price. So I left that behind, but I would love to get my hands on an original copy of that, because that is pretty much my favorite album of all time. At least it's right up there. Anyway, but what I did get instead was this masterpiece right here, Burn by Deep Purple. There you go, the sleeve there, and right there. There we go. Okay, so Deep Purple Burn. Like, this has to be, it's always vying for like either the top spot or the top three for me. This album is absolutely killer stuff. I mean, I think if I'm really honest, I think I enjoy this album more than any other Deep Purple album from top to bottom. But I'm such a huge Ian Gillan fan, and I love some of their other albums as well. In Rock is the one. It's like, that's the one that's hard to beat, and especially because of its impact on hard rock and heavy metal. That album is such a pioneering step. It's such a sort of groundbreaking statement from that band, and from Ian Gillan and Richie. They just like planted their flag in the sand and said, this is how you do hard rock. And incredible band, Ian Pace and Roger Glover and John Lord. And then of course, famously Richie and Ian Gillan hated each other's guts, or just couldn't get along anyway, put it that way. And eventually, Ian and Roger left the band, and Richie brought in no name at the time, the unknown, that's the word I'm looking for, not no name, fucking idiot, the unknown David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes on bass from Trapeze. And so Glenn Hughes, I think, initially thought that he was going to get the front, the lead vocal role, but what ended up happening was that David Coverdale essentially is the lead singer, with sort of dual or co-lead singing from Glenn Hughes and bass playing. And Glenn, besides his incredible voice, which is, he is one of the great singers of that era, and of course, David Coverdale is an incredible singer. He also brought, like, with his bass playing, a different rhythmic feel to the band as well, like a little bit more of a sort of, he was influenced by more of the sort of soul and R&B of the time, and brought that grooviness into these compositions, and to Richie's rock, his hard rocking, and it's a match made in heaven. And David Coverdale's voice and Glenn Hughes's voice absolutely have an incredible synergy that is unlike anything else really in that genre. I mean, there's not that many, and it's like when you think about it, it's a pretty sort of brave move of Richie to do that, sort of have this two frontman theme, especially after you replacing someone as iconic as Ian Gillan. But I mean, I really love this whole thing. I mean, there's a couple of moments on here that I'm like the A200 thing. It's okay, and like Mistreated. It's a little long in the tooth for my liking. It's okay. I know some people really love it. I don't really love Mistreated. I can live without it. But I love everything. I love pretty much everything else. I mean, Burn, Might Just Take Your Life, Lay Down, Stay Down, Sail Away. I love Sail Away. It's so good. And You Fool No One. I mean, what a kick-in song that is. That just charges out of the gate, and it just has this driving energy that I absolutely love. Richie's playing his ass off. John Lord is playing his ass off. David and Glenn are both singing up a storm, and Glenn's bass playing is fantastic on here. I absolutely love this album, and if it's hard for me to say because I've always said I've also always loved Fireball too. Fireball, I love that album. For me, that's really underrated. So it's always sort of been between those three for me as the. But even as I say that, I also really, really love the third Deep Purple, album that they did with the original lineup, and I think that's a really underrated album. And I also really love Perfect Strangers. Although I have to say, in recent years, Perfect Strangers has sort of dropped down a little for me. It sort of I don't quite get as excited about it as I used to. But this never ages, and when I got it home and chucked it on the record player. Well, I didn't actually come home. I went to a friend's place and I chucked it on his record player, and it was just sounding awesome. There's just something about getting a pressing from the 70s. I don't know what it is. I'm not an expert. I don't know why, but I know something sounds different. It just, I don't know, it just feels like it was, maybe it's something to do with, records were so ubiquitous at the time, and, the record pressing, companies really knew what they were doing. Sound engineers knew how to mix and master our albums for vinyl. I don't know, maybe it's the fact that it's a little bit worn, so it has sort of it feels like it's been lived in a little bit, and there's something awesome about that. It's almost like you can hear the history or something. I don't want to wax too lyrical and poetic about it. I know there's people out there, audiophiles who are really think that the whole vinyl thing is a big scam, and that there's that it doesn't sound any better or anything like that, and whatever. I don't think I would play this game of what sounds better or what's better, but I would say that it definitely does sound different, and I like that sound. I actually like it, and I noticed the difference because like I told you, I think I told you in the first video I made, or maybe another video, that when I had all my CDs for all those years, and then I eventually, I copied a huge amount of them onto my computer and then onto my phone. And so for years, I was listening to music almost exclusively on headphones on my phone at work, when I was, or if it was on a stereo, it was in my car. And so, I've heard this album countless times that way, and on the CD, but when I put it on the vinyl, it does have a different sound. It just does. And whether it's clearer when you hear it on a CD, it's clearer, I think. But I think it's it seems to have more character or something. It seems to like resonate more. I don't know. It might be psychological, maybe. But anyway, this album is incredible. I'm pretty sure, I can't really tell, because it doesn't say on here. Usually it does say like manufactured and distributed by CBS Records, but it doesn't say where. I think this is an Israeli pressing, because what I've noticed with a lot of Israeli pressings is that the colors are not right on sometimes, like the cover looks okay, like the colors on the cover look all right, but on the back, look at that, it's black and white. Now I don't know if I'm pretty sure I've seen original pressings that are the same colors as the front color, like this is all in color as well. So I don't know, maybe you guys can tell me. Maybe it's a bootleg, maybe it's a bootleg, I don't know. But it was pressed in 1974, it does say that. So there you go. Anyway, that's it for today. Deep Purple are awesome. Hit subscribe and I'll see you tomorrow.